Let's dive right into this explainer and break down the ultimate blueprint for turning absolute devastation into your greatest comeback. Today, we're unpacking a fiercely powerful source that goes way beyond your generic everyday motivation. This is about pure survival. What's so striking here is the hyper-focus on what you do when the world completely writes you off. So if you've ever felt counted out, ignored, or just beaten down, you are exactly where you need to be.
We really have to start with this visceral question to understand what happens when life strips you of absolutely everything and just kicks dirt in your face. The source doesn't sugarcoat it, and neither will we. We aren't talking about having a bad day at the office. We are talking about profound, identity-shaking devastation. How do you respond when every single door slams shut and the people you love the most look you dead in the eye and say, you know what, you just aren't going to make it?
Phase 1. When life kicks dirt. Let's start right at the bottom and explore the raw reality of hitting absolute rock bottom. The source paints a really painful picture of failure here. We're talking about losing your money, losing your home, maybe sleeping on a friend's couch. It's facing that crushing disappointment that makes you just want to throw your hands up and surrender entirely. It's that deeply humiliating inner conversation where you realize your business has tanked, your job is gone, and even your closest family or partner doesn't believe in your vision anymore. That brutal combination of external loss and internal humiliation, it breeds an overwhelming urge to just quit.
And this really perfectly illustrates that while adversity is absolutely brutal, you cannot let it convince you that this is the end of your story. The source emphasizes that when you're on the ground with dirt literally in your face, that is precisely the moment most people turn back. But, and this is crucial, it's also the exact moment you have to choose to fall forward. You just can't let the sheer volume of disappointment trick you into believing your potential is permanently capped. Moving to phase 2, finding your inner dog. Once you've acknowledged that pain, we have to talk about the internal psychological shift required to actually survive it.
You know, the speaker frequently references having that dog in you. It's a popular slang term, but here it's grounded into a very tangible psychological trait of pure, unrelenting tenacity. It's this aggressive, competitive spirit that wakes up every single day ready to fight for a better reality. The source makes it abundantly clear. You don't need to be the smartest person in the room. You don't need to be the most naturally gifted. You just need to have a profound, stubborn refusal to stay down.
Think about the ultimate comeback formula. It proves that success isn't about being phenomenally skilled, it's about being phenomenally willed. If we break it down, raw talent and intellect, they are just tiny pieces of the puzzle, maybe 10% each. The massive 80% majority of what gets you there, that is your heart, your grind, and your mental toughness. The speaker explicitly notes, I didn't get here off being smart, I got here off that dog. Your effort is literally the bridge between rock bottom and the top of the mountain.
We learn that pressure doesn't just crush you, it actually extracts your true potential. Why? Because opportunity only ever reveals itself in chaos, never inconvenience. The source views adversity as the greatest mentor in the world. Think about it for a second. Nobody becomes great without failing. That pressure you are feeling right now has a distinct purpose. It's acting like a vice, squeezing you to reveal the greatness hidden inside. If you run from the obstacle, you are literally running from the exact mechanism designed to level you up. Phase 3. Rejecting the victim mindset. Now we have to protect that inner tenacity by fundamentally changing our mindset and the very language we use every day.
There is a stark, crucial difference between the passive, self-sabotaging nature of a victim and the empowered ownership of a victor. Think about the victim mentality first. Victims are timid. They let circumstances dictate their worth, and their negative words actually plant the seeds of their own defeat. But a victor takes absolute ownership. They understand that while they can't control the storm around them, they have total authority over their internal attitude. The loudest voice in your life is your own, so you have to stop sabotaging yourself with victim language. Lions don't cry. Lions don't quit. Lions hunt. The repetitive intensity of this idea demands that you stop talking, thinking, and acting like a victim, and instead adopt the fierce mindset of a lion. When life gets overwhelmingly hard, the source insists you don't just sit there crying about the unfairness of it all. You buck back. You transition your energy from mourning what you've lost to fiercely hunting for what you want. It's about moving from mediocre to meteoric by recognizing the power to change is already inside of you.
Phase 4. Silencing the naysayers. So what happens when you decide to change, but the outside world tries its hardest to pull you back down?
You will inevitably face pushback. You're going to face hatred and people projecting their own personal limitations right onto your dreams. When you start acting in your best interest, you are going to lose some friends.
People will look at your ambitions and call you crazy or arrogant, but the source reveals a fascinating psychological truth. When people say you can't do it, what they are really saying is they can't do it. They're just taking their own lack of vision and projecting it directly onto you.
So, what's your response? It has to be an immediate, unapologetic rejection of their doubts. I absolutely love this phrase from the source: I am dead to your limitations. You have to build a mental fortress where their opinions simply do not exist. It doesn't matter how many mistakes you've made or what your bank account looks like today. If someone judges you based on your current rock bottom, they are judging you way too prematurely. You just can't let their temporary trap derail your permanent journey.
To kill all that external noise, you don't need money or outside validation. You strictly need 120% of your own mind and attitude. The source stresses that you literally only need one person in the entire world to believe in you, and that person is you. You don't need vast resources or a massive cheering section to get started. If you bring 120% effort and an unbreakable attitude to the table, nobody can stop you. You shut the haters up not by arguing with them, but with your undeniable results.
Which brings us to Phase 5, the relentless forward push. Let's look at how we translate this internal armor into unstoppable physical momentum.
Let's talk about the timeline of preparedness. The core idea here is that you must make up your mind to succeed long before you ever step foot onto the battlefield. You cannot wait until you're in the middle of a crisis to decide if you're going to fight. The source says you have to make up your mind before the bad news hits, before the diagnosis, before the hardest exam of your life. You decide right now in the calm that you will not leave the battlefield until you are successful.
When life beats you up, your job is to refuse to turn off beast mode, and instead, match whatever chaotic effort your circumstances throw at you. A major reason people fail is that the moment they encounter real friction, they turn their intensity off. They retreat. But this blueprint requires you to do the exact opposite. If your situation is throwing a level 10 disaster at you, you put that situation on your back and you match it with a level 10 effort. You welcome the opposition, because honestly, it's the only way to see what you're truly made of.
The source closes with this incredibly powerful mantra: your only required objective is forward momentum, by absolutely any means necessary. It doesn't matter how fast you're going, it only matters that you do not stop. If you have the will to get through the trial, you are strong enough to climb the mountain. So if you can't fly, run. If you can't run, walk. And if you can't walk, you get down and you crawl. You use whatever breath you have left in your lungs to just keep moving forward.
To wrap up this explainer, I'll leave you with this. Since no one can predict your future but you, what will you do today to prove them wrong? The source reminds us that your failures do not define your finale. The pen is firmly in your hand. So look at the obstacles in front of you not as a signal to quit, but as the very stepping stones to your greatness. What is the one relentless, unbreakable action you are going to take right now to write your comeback story?